Hey guys, so you saw the title of this video, and what this is I want to try to commit to doing these short preview videos for our various film festivals, independent film festivals that will be screening in the Philippines this year and hopefully for years to come, in the hopes that, you know, whoever seems to pass by this video will become more aware of these smaller independent Filipino films that are coming out in limited theaters, and hopefully you guys can check out these movies because they do need our support. So right now we're going to be talking about Sinag Maynila, which for the past few years really became like the starting point of the independent film festival season here in this country. And this year Sinag Maynila is going to be running from March 9 to 14 in 4 places: SM Mega Mall, SM North EDSA, Gateway, and Glorieta. Sinag Maynila has always been sort of my least favorite. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I don't necessarily agree with like the films that they decide to show. But of course, I'm always hopeful. Like watching Filipino film, whether it's good or bad, is always like my favorite part of doing this whole channel thing, because it's always the most unique thing I get to do. So if I'm not mistaken, this year Sinag Maynila has a short film program with 5 short narrative films, a short documentary program which has 5 short documentaries, and then of course 5 feature-length films. So I'm gonna cover very quickly these 5 feature-length films. I'm going to read out their synopses, and I'm going to give my brief thoughts about them going in, even if I don't know, pretty much anything about these movies. So the first feature-length film at Sinag Maynila this year is Beyond the Block, directed by Ricky Carranza. The synopsis for this reads: spanning 5 decades and filmed in 3 continents, this energetic docudrama showcases the rich, vivid history of an understated fixture of Pinoy culture. Beyond the Block chronicles the evolution of Filipino street dance from its humble 1970s TV roots to the struggles of today's international competition aspirants. Now, I am really glad there are more local documentaries being made and being released in these festivals. I'm not sure if it's because of how successful Sunday Beauty Queen was during last year's Metro Manila Film Festival, but I am happy there are more documentaries. However, with any sort of popular trend that booms, there will be growing pains. There will be lessons to be learned of like how to make a documentary good instead of just releasing as many documentaries as possible. And watching the trailer for Beyond the Block, the production values kind of worry me, although I feel like that's an issue I have with Sinag Maynila every year. But yeah, like there are it doesn't seem that polished yet in the trailer. However, all I really want to see in this documentary is dancing and the evolution of dance in the Philippines, and as long as they get that right, I will be sort of satisfied, I suppose. Now, the second feature-length film at this year's festival is Boyan Chick, directed by Joel Amangan. The synopsis here reads: 2 small-time felons with disparate personas cross paths. One's a principled, tough gay man, and the other is a scheming, street-smart teenager. Together, they get caught up in a string of petty exploits while managing to forge a stronger bond. Can they survive the ordeal? I am pretty skeptical about this film because it's Joel Amangan, and him as a director, he doesn't really have a good track record. I'm one of those people who thinks he's better as an actor. Like if you saw him in Dodo Dayao's horror film Violator, like he's really good in that movie, but as a director, not so much, in my opinion. But the one thing this movie does have going for it right off the bat is Ronaldo Martin, who is proving himself to be a really great young actor. He was great in Pamilya Ordinario, in Ari, My Life with a King, and I'm sure he'll be great here. The third film showing at Sinag Maynila is called Cristo, directed by H.F. Yambao. The synopsis for this reads: a man suddenly faces an assortment of personal struggles, ironically in the midst of a family milestone. In this hard-hitting drama, he will fight to protect his livelihood, maintain his honor as a family man, and eventually save his own life. Ultimately, Cristo poses the question, in the game of life, who wins and who loses? Now, I don't quite know what to make of this film yet because the trailer doesn't really show too much, but it does already look better than Best Party Ever, which is the previous film that H.F. Yambao directed, which I personally did not like at all. But then watching the trailer, it's great that Christopher King appears to be the protagonist in this film because he is a really promising actor with, considerable range. I thought he was great in Purgatorio, which was my favorite Filipino film of 2016. And I really do hope he gets more exposure because right now he's just known as the dude from the anti-piracy ad with Derek Ramsey. He's the film pirate. But he is a good actor, so I hope he gets more opportunities. Now, the fourth film at Sinag Maynila is called Ladyfish. This is directed by Jason Orfalas. The synopsis says, Ladyfish follows a gay misfit's search for clarity and acceptance after being unjustly fired from her job. The plot thickens when her best friend appears at her doorstep with her adopted Swedish son. Soon, the friends must face the challenge of thriving in a cold, judgmental society. Okay, this one I'm very skeptical about because, we're living in a post-Die Beautiful world where there really is no more excuse for badly written LGBT characters in Philippine cinema, because we've been treating these people so badly in local cinema for so long, and in the trailer of Ladyfish kind of makes it come across like, these characters are being used for comedy, again, just solely comedy. And I really hope that's not the case, because that's going to be a big step backwards, but we'll see. And finally, the fifth film being shown at Sinag Maynila is called, I'm sorry if I get this pronunciation wrong, Tupog Imatoy, directed by R.B. Barbarona. And the synopsis for this says, Tupog Imatoy, which means the right to kill in Manobo, follows a lumad couple Obunay and Dawin who are uprooted from their traditional way of life after a military encounter. Soon they find themselves unwilling instruments in the soldiers' anti-guerrilla operations. What will it take for them to reunite with their family? Inspired by actual events, the film tackles the Manobo struggles against environment plunder and the militarization of their communities. Now, just from that synopsis, this sounds like the most interesting one, definitely. The trailer is way too long, but it already looks like the most promising of these entries and the most relevant one for today's situation, though I am gonna stay cautiously optimistic because I'm just like that for every film ever. But it's just always great to see regional cinema, because I feel like that's where the future of our cinema really kind of might lie, in the regions. So I am interested. I don't really know what to expect from all of these movies, but I plan to see all of them, so you can look forward to my reviews for each of these. Alright, so those are my quick thoughts on this year's Sinag Maynila Festival. What do you guys think of these entries? What are you looking forward to? What do you think is going to be good? Whatever you guys think, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.